Okay, now let's watch the rest of the second case on water rights involving National Audubon Society versus Los Angeles Department of Water and Power in 1983. So this happens many years after the first case and Irwin versus Phillips. So let's watch it first and I'll explain it to you in more detail later.
Society case, National Audubon Society versus Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. The California Supreme Court again had to consider water rights. At this point, the gold rush was over. California was well developed into one of the most developed states economically in the entire United States. And it has turned out that water, rather than gold, turned out to be the enduring precious resource in California. Nonetheless, Los Angeles, a large growing city with an almost voracious, famous appetite for water, had acquired water rights to 5 streams that fed a lake near the Sierra Nevada mountains, Mono Lake. And the Department of Water and Power in Los Angeles clearly had water rights to appropriate all of the water in those streams and divert that water through canals down to Los Angeles for use there by Los Angelinos. By the way, I was born in Los Angeles. In this case, the court recognized that the interests of the water user, in this case Los Angeles, was legitimate. And in fact, California needs to move water around, being a very arid area. But on the other hand, the court recognized that rights to water were overlain with something known as a public trust interest, which is that the state has claims to the water and to create property rights to this water, subject to its overriding interest to consider broader public goods and environmental aspects of the water. That's not necessarily to say that one always or even ever trumps the other. But the court held in National Audubon Society that before water rights are given to completely appropriate streams, just causing environmental calamities, not just to those streams, but to the Mono Lake that it would feed, the California Water Resources Board needed to consider the public trust, including the environmental aspects of water rights. On remand, by the way, back to the California Water Board, the California Water Board decided not to allow the continued diversion, and Los Angeles got its water elsewhere, and those streams continued to support their own environment, their aquatic environment, and to feed Mono Lake. It was the case that was heralded as that which saved Mono Lake, this unusual and rich ecological treasure at the foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountain. The point for our purposes, though, is that over 100 years after Irwin, the court once again noted that property rights need to be mindful by overarching societal obligations, in this case reflected in the public trust doctrine, although at this time environmental interest had become central.